Sure. Here's more detailed information about why these countries are considered some of the most expensive. 1. Switzerland. 1. Cost of living. Switzerland is known for its sky-high prices across almost every category. 1. Zurich and Geneva are consistently ranked among the most expensive cities in the world. 2. Why is it so expensive? High wages. People earn a lot more on average, but that also means goods and services are priced higher. Housing. Rent and property prices in major cities like Zurich and Geneva can be astronomical. Healthcare and insurance. While Swiss healthcare is excellent, it's also expensive, and mandatory health insurance adds to the cost. Quality of life. Excellent infrastructure, transportation, and social services come at a premium. Point 2. Norway. 3. Cost of living. Norway, especially Oslo, has one of the highest costs of living in Europe. 4. Why is it so expensive? High taxes. Norway has a high tax rate to support its generous welfare system, which includes free healthcare and education, but this contributes to higher prices for consumers. Oil economy. While Norway is rich in natural resources, especially oil, the country's wealth can drive up living costs. Food and goods. Imported goods can be pricey due to high tariffs and shipping costs. Housing. The real estate market, especially in cities, can be very competitive and expensive. Point 3. Iceland. 5. Cost of living. Iceland is a beautiful but expensive country to live in. 5. Reykjavik, the capital, has high living costs, especially for housing and food. 6. Why is it so expensive? Isolation. Iceland is geographically isolated, which increases the cost of importing goods and food. Tourism-driven economy. While tourism is a big part of Iceland's economy, the influx of visitors drives up prices in key areas like accommodation and food. Limited resources. The country's population is small, so the demand for goods and services tends to drive up prices. Point 4. Luxembourg. 7. Cost of living. Luxembourg's small size and high standard of living make it an expensive place to live. 8. Why is it so expensive? High wages and low taxes. Luxembourg is a tax haven for many businesses, which leads to high salaries and a wealthier population, which in turn drives up the cost of living. Real estate. The housing market in Luxembourg is particularly expensive due to the influx of wealthy individuals and multinational companies. Financial sector. Being one of the richest countries in the world, with a robust banking sector, leads to overall high prices. Singapore. 1. Cost of living. Singapore regularly ranks as one of the most expensive cities globally, particularly in housing, transportation, and education. 2. Why is it so expensive? Real estate. Singapore has a high population density, and land is scarce, making property prices skyrocket. Imports. Many goods are imported into Singapore, raising the price of food and general goods. High wages and education costs. Many expats work in Singapore, driving up wages and costs, and education at international schools can be very expensive. Strong currency. The Singapore dollar is quite strong, adding to the cost of living for foreigners. Hong Kong. 1. Cost of living. Known for its exorbitant housing prices and high overall living costs, Hong Kong is one of the most expensive places to live in Asia. 2. Why is it so expensive? Limited land. Hong Kong is a densely populated area with very little land available for development, which drives up housing prices. Expensive goods and services. Imported goods are taxed heavily, and many consumer goods come with a premium. Expat community. The high number of international professionals and expats also drives up prices in terms of accommodation and services. Other notable expensive countries. 1. Japan. Tokyo and other major cities have high living costs, especially in terms of rent and consumer goods. 1. However, Japan balances this with good public transportation, affordable food, and healthcare. 2. Australia. Major cities like Sydney and Melbourne can be expensive, particularly in terms of real estate. 3. United States. Cities like New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles can be extremely costly, particularly in terms of housing, but the US also offers lower costs in certain areas. Factors affecting cost of living. 1. Real estate prices. In countries like Switzerland, Norway, and Hong Kong, real estate costs are a huge factor. 2. Wages. Countries with high average wages like Luxembourg and Switzerland have a higher cost of living because people can afford to spend more, so prices increase. 3. Goods and services. High import costs in isolated countries like Iceland or Singapore raise the cost of everyday goods. 4. Currency strength. Countries with strong currencies like Norway and Switzerland often have a higher cost of living, as the purchasing power is higher, and everything is priced accordingly. So, it's all about balancing wages, demand, and the availability of resources.